NutriCast.
I think it's just a lot of not taking action is probably the biggest thing, or people they try to overanalyze stuff and they got to have the perfect website and the perfect business card and this and that. And they never go out and actually do the actions that it takes to generate revenue. I mean, there's ways to get clients if you have $100,000 or $100, right? There's things you can do to go out and start generating cash flow. I think people just get focused on the wrong activities. That's probably the biggest issue.
Welcome to Think Business with Tyler, sharing our methods and strategies for success. Join in on our conversations with business owners as we highlight their triumphs and detail how they overcame the challenges they faced while continuing to grow and scale their business. It's time to think life, think success, and think business with your host, Tyler Martin.
Hey, welcome back to another episode. What kind of business can you start with $1,200, no employees, and a scoop? For William Milliken, the answer was a dog poop removal company. And today, it's a $2 million plus recurring revenue machine with over 2,500 weekly clients, a full team, and a thriving online community of entrepreneurs learning how to follow in his footsteps. In this episode, William breaks down why low barrier service businesses can still have serious margins, how he uses Facebook ads, wrapped trucks, and subscription billing to keep churn low and growth steady, and why most people fail, not because the model doesn't work, but because they never actually take the right action. And if you think success only comes from big, complicated ideas, this one is going to challenge that. Hey, Will, welcome to the Think Business with Tyler podcast show. How's it going?
I'm doing good, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Want to start out just learning about what you do professionally. And then part two of that is if you've got a little tidbit about you personally, I'd love to know a little bit about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I grew up in Spokane, Washington, or right on the border of Washington State and Idaho. My background's in digital marketing. I used to have a small advertising agency. I used to work for a big agency. And I realized I make a lot more money if I actually own the companies that I do advertising for rather than just marketing for people. So kind of pivoted a little bit, got into the home service field. I partner with operators. I got an electrical company, I got a garage door company. And probably what I'm most well known for is our dog waste removal company. So we built a multimillion-dollar business picking up dog poop, believe it or not. Kind of surprising to me as well.
So it sounds like you're pretty entrepreneurial. What started it all? Like, when did you decide, hey, I'm going to go out and, hunt for myself?
Yeah, I kind of got lucky, I would say. I didn't know what I was doing coming out of high school. I went to school. I got a college degree in like social work or something.
Wow.
And I realized I need to make more than like $12 an hour. So I just started trying to do whatever I could. I dabbled in real estate and like insurance sales, and eventually fell into marketing, where I got a little bit more leverage, and just kind of over time developed those skills and just kept trying to apply them into higher and higher leverage opportunities. It's kind of been the progression over the last 5-10 years.
Does cash flow have you down? Profit not where you think it should be? Maybe it's the long hours. Let's meet to see if I can help. I bridge driving the financial performance of your business to hit growth and success targets. Book a complimentary meeting at meetforgrowth.com to get started now. Once again, that's meetforgrowth.com. I look forward to talking with you. And thanks for listening to the show.
Trying to apply them into higher and higher leverage opportunities. It's kind of been the progression over the last 5-10 years.
Have you had mentors that have kind of led you down this path, or have you kind of just brute forced it and figured things out?
I live off of YouTube for all my information.
So you've got like a lot of mentors, virtual ones.
Yeah. Well, Alex Hormozy is my mentor. We used to watch every single video that he'd have and see how I could apply what he was talking to about our business. I actually met him last year, which was cool. So
that is cool. So I was going to ask you, but I think you kind of answered the question by saying that from what you learned from him early on, and now that you're kind of at a different spot in life in terms of success, do you still kind of look back and go, yeah, man, a lot of stuff he said was really true and right on? Or is it kind of one of those where, it's one of those gurus, and when you get there, you're like, oh, it was all BS?
No, it's all pretty much true. So,
okay.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. That's cool. Okay. So before I get into the dog waste removal, I want to talk about, so you have multiple businesses. Like, why not just focus on one originally? Why kind of jump from, 2 or 3 different type businesses? Like, what's your thinking on that?
Yeah. Well, looking back, I just basically was trying to make money however I could, right? So just throw a bunch of money out of the wall, see what happens. Now that is definitely a reprioritization. What I'm looking at, like exiting everything and just fully focusing on the dog waste removal business because it is the most scalable, it is the most profitable, and it has the highest exit potential if that's something that we want to do in the future.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it also would seem like it's got the franchise potential too, even though you haven't really gone down that path yet. Mm-hmm. Is that something that strategically you're considering?
Something that we could do. I actually have a list of over 100 people that have reached out to me that wanted to buy a Swoop Scoop franchise.
Yeah.
Isn't something that we necessarily pulled the trigger on because it's so inexpensive to open up these locations. I mean, I need a car, get a wrap. You don't even have to have all of that. Less than 10 grand. You can have a business that, for us anyways, are generating millions of dollars within a few years.
Yeah. It's just, honestly, it's Swoop Scoop, right? It's just got such cool branding that for someone to legally be able to use that.
Yeah.
And if you have the systemology and, like you said, the community and all the other stuff we'll get into, I think there is kind of some franchise potential there. But I don't know. It's obviously legally got some challenges in terms of setting that up and all that other stuff.
Oh, yeah. And it's almost an entirely different business, right? Because then all my effort is just making Swoop Scoop better, making it more efficient, getting marketing better, building out the team at Swoop Scoop. And then it turns into, how do we sell these franchises? How do we support the franchisees? It's almost an entirely different business.
It's true.
So it might be something we look into in the future once we kind of fully master everything that we do. Because I mean, there's other franchises in this space, and we pretty much mop them up in all our local markets.
Yeah, I had someone on one of my other podcasts the other day, and when I've interviewed him twice. Once was about 2 years ago, and he was taking his business, a home services business, he was taking it down the franchise path. Well, I met with him now 2 years later, and he decided, no, I don't want to do the franchise thing. It was too complicated. What I'm doing is I'm licensing. People don't have to change their company name. I'm licensing on a very high ticket basis, personal coaching, and all his materials. And he's finding that's a lot more lucrative with a lot less loopholes. Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting model too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Lots of opportunities. I think we're positioned in a pretty good spot where we have a lot of options with what we want to do next. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that's exciting. Now, before I get into, because I do want to talk about the success story so far, because it's pretty exciting. But before I get to that, the thing that keeps hitting me is, you always talk about in a business, you have a moat, meaning what's going to keep other competitors from just coming into my territory and taking me over. I mean, it doesn't, on the surface, it doesn't feel like there's really like a big moat here. You're just, you got kind of some flashy marketing and then you go pick up poop. It doesn't, is there a moat there? Is there something that differentiates you?
I mean, I think there could be a moat with any business, right? So for us, like in the local market, especially our first market, our brand's probably our biggest moat. So when I first started, there's almost no search volume whatsoever for dog waste removal. And there's still pretty low search volume, but there's probably 20 times more searches for actual branded terms for kind of around the service. So people associate us with the service rather than the service itself, I guess, when they're doing Google searches. So I think that's a pretty big moat. And also professionalizing the business. It's obviously a pretty low barrier to entry. You can get started for a couple $100 if you wanted to. We got all fully wrapped vehicles. We got a full team. We got 30 plus people. We got managers. We got a full call center. So we're able to respond to customers fast. We're always picking up the phone. If somebody wants a quote, we have a full instant quote system. So we've done a lot of things. So we're really fast and really efficient. Where a new scooper coming in might not necessarily have all those things because they got a bucket and a truck kind of a thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So before I get into kind of my next question, that I actually want to back up and just share with the audience where we're at. So you started this Swoop Scoop. It's a subscription model. Yep. Take me through what the model is. Like, what do you do? So you come to my home. How do you get me as a customer first, and then what's the offer?
Yeah. So essentially what we do is we come to people's houses. We pick up their poop on a subscription basis, and we have different frequencies. So they come out twice a week, once every other week, or once a month. And the pricing is just flat rate pricing based on that frequency and how many dogs somebody has. So if they have 4 dogs and they want to come out every week, we got a specific subscription price for that. And then we pre-bill all of our customers on a monthly or quarterly basis because we found the longer the billing interval, the lower our customer churn rate is. So we try to get as many people on quarterly as possible. But essentially, we'll come out on their service day, pick up the yard, bag up the poop, we'll leave, we'll take a picture of the gate so the customer knows that the dog didn't get let out. And then we'll also spray down all our equipment with like a kennel grade disinfectant. So we're not spreading like parvo or other illnesses from dog to dog to dogs. It's definitely a concern for a lot of customers. That's really all there is to the service. I mean, it's as simple as it gets.
And how do you encourage customers to sign up quarterly? Is there something that you do, or is it just you offer it?
We give a 10% discount for quarterly. So we're pulling the data right now, but I think it's more than cut our churn in half for that particular subset of customers, which increased our LTV like almost like $1,000 more for the quarterly customers. So,
well, that's a big deal. And
yeah.
why is that? Is it because it's all an automatic transaction anyway, right? It's like, why do you think people just seeing the charge every month makes them want to cut because they see it every month?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, it makes it more top of mind that they're getting charged, and then probably another factor too is those quarterly customers might be the higher quality customers because they're willing to pay whatever $300-400 kind of up front.
That's interesting.
So I think there's a little bit of that involved as well. I think Hormozy talks about this a lot. They call it like the look back window, right? So what have you done for me over that course of that billing cycle, right? So if we've come and done 12, 15, 16 cleanups versus 4, people might find it a little bit more value there.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. Human psychology, though, is very interesting. Like you put a bill in front of someone every month and they're thinking about it and they're more apt to probably shut it off. Whereas if it's kind of buried in a quarterly, aside from the more affluent, but just the regular people, it's probably less likely to get on their radar. That's interesting.
And then the other interesting thing we're looking at is on the employee side is giving people quicker reward cycles, right? So right now we pay everybody like twice a week, but if we move that to paying them like once a week, some studies I've been looking at show that actually helps increase employee retention. So we want to pay our people faster and charge our customers less frequently. It's kind of the two things we're doing.
Yeah. You kind of answered it already, but I think there's more to it probably. What do you do to create stickiness? Going back to that client that I was just the person I just interviewed in another podcast, they literally leave like so they're on a subscription basis where they go out to homes and they do some basic maintenance, not quite handyman, but it's basic things, check filters, things like that. And to keep, demonstrating value, what they do is they actually, every time the technician goes out there, they actually leave a voicemail. Now it's only quarterly, so it's not as often as you guys are doing, but you leave a message going down every single thing. It's like a 2-minute message, apparently, everything that they did to try to demonstrate value along with a report.
Yeah.
What are you guys trying to do? Like, is it like, hey, this quarter we picked up 324 poops on your, what do you do to create value to demonstrate?
Yeah, we don't necessarily do that. All we do is we send a customer a 60-minute on the way text message just so they know that we're on the way. So if they have an aggressive dog or anything, they can let that dog inside. And then we take that gate photo is, I think, the big thing. So they know the dog's not getting let out. And then they know that we actually came and fulfilled the service. So that's really just the two things that we do.
Yeah. That was going to be my other question. How do you do, because there is risk with dogs, if it's not a friendly dog, have you had any incidents or anything where there's a challenge?
Dog incidences are pretty rare. They do happen. We actually just passed yesterday. We cleaned over 200,000 yards, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's only happened a handful of times. And typically it will only happen if there is an aggressive dog that like the kid lets it out while one of our techs is out in the yard. Because if we show up and there's an aggressive dog, it's not friendly with strangers, we'll just skip that yard and still charge the customer.
Yeah, you have to.
So they have incentive to keep it in.
Yeah. We
do try to clean with a dog in the yard if it is friendly, just because it's a convenient service, right? It's not very convenient if you have to come home from work and let your dog inside.
Right. Yeah. In terms of when you acquire customers, is most of it coming through SEO search right now, or how are they finding you?
Yeah, so our top 3 channels is number 1 is actually Facebook ads. Number 2 is going to be Google ads /SEO. And then number 3 is truck wraps. And all those things kind of create a flywheel and help each other out, right? So like if we take pictures with our truck wraps with employees, it actually makes our Facebook ads perform better. The more we're able to spend on Facebook ads, the more search demand gets created from that. And we start picking up the Google clients. So they kind of all work together. So having all 3 of them locked down is pretty important.
Yeah. And in terms of someone that wants to enter this market, it sounds like you're saying it's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. You guys have set up a community. I think you have over 800 people in that community. Mm-hmm. What does that look like? If someone were going to enter into this, like what is their expectation in terms of revenue? Like what's their opportunity, do you think?
Yeah, it just really depends on how they're coming into it, right? There's a big difference from somebody that's got their last $500 and they're trying to start a business versus somebody that just cashed out their 401k and they got $100,000 to come in and try to grow quickly. For us, we actually got pretty fortunate in our first year. We started this business with, I think, less than $1,200.
Wow.
And we were able to achieve, it's kind of hard to do this now. We're able to achieve a customer financed acquisition. So we would spend whatever, $50 on Facebook ads, get a customer, they'd pay us for $100 initial cleanup, get on the subscription, and we just kept rolling that money back in. I think our first year we ended with over 350 customers on a recurring basis.
Wow.
Which actually all came within like 3 months, which was kind of crazy.
And you mentioned it's kind of changed. What's customer acquisition costs look like nowadays?
Yeah. So you can still get down, if you're in an area that has snow and the snow's melting off, you can still get in that $50-$60 range. At least we can anyways, but we got like over 1,000 5-star reviews and a lot of other kind of benefits that help us.
Yeah.
If you're in a cold market, you don't have much brand equity and it's like maybe the middle of summer, which is our slowest time, you might be looking at like $300 to acquire a customer at scale. Facebook ads anyways.
That's a decent amount. How does this work in terms of, I imagine hiring people normally is a challenge. How do you hire and retain people? And do you put in some type of performance incentive to that?
Yeah, so hiring actually is pretty easy for this business. So I got the electrical company. You got to find somebody with 8,000 hours and all these licenses and all that stuff. But with the Poop Scoop, you just need somebody that can drive a car and pick up dog poop, right? So it's not as difficult. And we went out to try to make it the best entry-level job position possible. So we look at the market. We try to pay $2 an hour, at least more than all the landscapers, Amazon, FedEx, all those entry-level labor jobs. We provide benefits. And then we also let our employees take the vehicle home after the probation period. And then they can also start their route kind of whenever they want, as long as they get their route done for that day. So there's that flexibility. Somebody has to go to the doctor or whatever. And I think that's pretty appealing for a lot of people, especially in an entry-level job. They're not able to make this much money with those perks anywhere else.
So how many, for someone to make a decent amount of money, obviously it's limited, but how many houses are they visiting a week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One person can typically handle around 150 customers themselves.
A week?
A week or a month, because we're coming out every week, right? So it'd be about the same. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay. And wow. And so that means they're traveling to 30 places a day, probably assuming a 5-day work week.
Yep.
I imagine from a location standpoint, they're all relatively in the general same area.
Yep. So we'll route. I think we're going to look at redoing the way that we do routing. But right now we just have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got like a particular part of town that we do for each one of those days. And we basically just send our team out to that part of town.
If you had to reflect, just in terms of your entrepreneurial journeys, what surprised you? What's kind of caught you off guard in terms of building businesses? Is there anything that stands out?
I was pretty surprised that this business ended up taking off the way that it did. Because my main background was like Google, right? All my other companies, all the customers and the leads that come from Google search or LSA or ranking on the maps or in the organic section. There's almost no search volume for this business. So we had to find an entirely different way to go out and get customers. I had no idea if it was going to work. And I was pretty surprised to see the growth, because we're almost at like 2,500 customers a week or something like that.
Yeah. What are you doing? Like 2 million on a run rate of like 2 million plus a year?
Last year we did 2 million, just scooping.
It's crazy.
Scoop and poop. So we'll be probably between 2.5, 3 this year. And then we're going to open up another location towards the end of the year.
If you're a business owner feeling stuck in your business, overwhelmed, responsible for everything that happens, and working long hours, Tyler helps his clients develop processes, hire high-performing team members, and better understand their financial metrics and numbers to allow for a more predictable, less hands-on business. To schedule a free, no-pressure consultation, head to thinktyler.com and click the meeting button. Tyler would love to see if he can help you work on your business, not in your business. Schedule a consultation today at thinktyler.com. Think life, think success, think business.
Scoop and poop. So we'll be probably between 2.5, 3 this year. And then we're going to open up another location towards the end of the year.
I mean, I guess it's not that. So, I mean, in some ways it's surprising, but then if you look at the typical American, I mean, we definitely love everything being automated or made easier, and I especially think, nowadays I have 3 dogs, and my wife and I, we just do it. It's not a big deal. But, when we were growing up as a kid, everybody hated doing it, and mom was too busy and dad was at work. And so I could see for a growing family where it has tremendous value.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, there's a big variety of people that use it too, because there's a lot of elderly people that have dogs, right? They're not necessarily able to pick up after it. You got people that have like service animals. You got people that are disabled. You got working couples where both people just basically work sun. They don't even see the sun sometimes, right? But probably the biggest group of people is just people that don't like picking up dog poop. So that female in like the 30 to 40 age range is kind of our top customer demographic.
Really?
Yeah.
But what do you do? I mean, a lot of areas obviously are apartment driven, so they don't really have like a backyard. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're targeting more of like a single family residence. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is a commercial side of the business. We haven't pushed on it super hard, but we probably make, I don't know, over $100,000 a year on commercial services. So we'll install like the pet waste stations for apartment complexes. We'll clean up like common areas. We'll maintenance those pet waste stations, replace the bags, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you actually tie in the full stations, the monitoring. That's actually cool. Yeah, that would seem like that would have a big upside to it too.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential there, but kind of like franchising, the commercial side of the business is an entirely different business, right? I can't just poke a couple buttons on Facebook and run people through our funnel and sign up 100 customers in a week kind of a thing. Yeah, you got to actually go hit the pavement, network with property managers. Like it's an entirely different sales process.
It's a different world for sure.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow, very cool. So what are some things like just in terms of your own entrepreneurial journey? Like, are there some things that stand out, like just tips that you could give us? I usually ask this a little later in the show, but I'm just curious. I think it's a good point. Are there some things that you learned that you did, maybe tips you could give us that we might be able to apply?
Yeah, probably. I mean, probably the biggest thing with any business is understanding your customer acquisition costs in relation to your customer lifetime value, like how much people are paying you while they're in your business. You can kind of just mathematically reverse engineer any business around those kind of two numbers. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. And then for me, I also wasn't afraid to partner with other people who were able to grow quite a bit faster. So like I'm good at marketing and helping to get loans and all that kind of stuff. So partnering with people that are good operators has been enabled me to grow multiple companies without like a ton of my time being sucked out.
And how do you do that? Do you like, let's say the electrical business, if you have an operator there, do you just give them a larger piece of pie? Is it performance based, or how do you drive that?
One we just started together. So we both started it. That one was during COVID. I was helping with marketing for somebody. He worked for another place. Everybody got laid off. So we're like, well, let's see if we can make something work. That one ended up doing pretty well also.
Huh, interesting. Hey, Will, so in terms of scaling, like, do you see any bottlenecks in terms of things that would prevent you from getting to the next level?
Yeah, so the biggest bottleneck we're working at unclogging right now is definitely around hiring that next layer of management. So each one of our locations, we have a field manager, we have an office manager, we got people in the office, and then we recently brought in an operations manager to kind of oversee all of that. But now we need to bring in like a marketing manager, marketing director to fully replace me. We got to bring in HR in-house. We got to bring in finance in-house. So we got to really start developing this extra infrastructure so we can just start to copy paste new locations.
Yeah. So like you have a leadership team, basically.
Yeah.
Do you follow any methodology? Have you heard of Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS?
I think I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah. I'd encourage you to check it out because you're like going through that phase where it becomes really valuable. There's a book called Traction. And basically what it is it brings that leadership team together, and it talks about meeting cadence and what you should cover and accountability and ownership and all that other stuff. It's just a really powerful book for companies, I would say, in that 2 million plus range that are scaling in kind of getting the team together. So something to think about. Yeah. Gosh, I love that story though, just in terms of where you're at and what you're developing. The other question that I had for you related to your business model, it just seems like there's so many opportunities, like even in your community. I mean, obviously you have to stay focused because it's easy to just chase everything and not do anything. But I was even thinking like in your community for all these people setting up businesses, you got 800 people. I mean, and you've got marketing background. It would be so easy for you to create digital packages that you could probably even somewhat, I'm not saying copy, but it would be somewhat, you could overlap and just kind of change identity. But there's just so many ideas. You talk commercial, you just got to probably stay focused and determine what you want to be best at and make most at that makes you happy, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities for me. Keeping it simple, I'm focused on the community. So we do have people that are marketing partners. So they'll either pay us a referral fee or they'll sponsor the channel just to be like promoted as a marketing person. So we still make revenue off that without actually having to do all this stuff. Obviously, we don't make as much as if we were to do it ourselves, but I also don't have the bandwidth for that. So yeah.
What do you see as the barrier? You have 800 people in your community, so I'm sure you hear a lot of things. What prevents people from actually being successful? Is there a common theme that you see?
I think it's just a lot of not taking action is probably the biggest thing, or people they try to overanalyze stuff and they got to have the perfect website and the perfect business card and this and that. And they never go out and actually do the actions that it takes to generate revenue. I mean, there's ways to get clients if you have $100,000 or $100, right? There's things you can do to go out and start generating cash flow. I think people just get focused on the wrong activities. Is probably the biggest issue.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's one of the biggest obstacles, especially for something that has easy entry. I think it attracts all type of people. But the problem is, I think a lot of people probably don't want to execute. I mean, in their mind, they want to execute, but actually doing it is different than actually thinking about it, which is a challenge.
Yeah. Right. You're going to go knock 100 doors if you don't have any money, or like cold call a bunch of people, or DM all your friends and family. Like, that's uncomfortable stuff to do. You don't have money, but those are the things that it takes.
Yeah, you just got to want it. I had a guy on my podcast not too long ago. His name was Dallin Huso, and he started a pool service business many years ago. And he had no money. Enough money to buy actually a pool net. And I can't really remember something else, but just 2 little items. And he literally went door to door asking if people needed pool service. And he built a multi-million-dollar business from just starting out door to door. And it was the action. It wasn't any expertise or anything special yet. It's sad that people sometimes get in their own way. But I mean, as long as they're happy, I'm definitely not judging anyone, but it's sad.
Yeah. Well, and people have different goals too. There's a lot of people that come in, they just want to get whatever, 10, 15 clients, make an extra $1,000 a month a month, and they're happy with that. There's people that want $1 million business or $10 million business or whatever it might be. So people have different goals too.
Yeah. Do you feel like on the scoop side, not the community, but just the business itself, do you see that? Is that potentially a $5 or $10 million business, do you think?
Oh yeah, no, I think pretty easily.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could hit $10 million just in Washington State and North Idaho, to be honest.
Wow. That's crazy. That's just amazing.
That's somewhere between, depending on our pricing at the time, somewhere between probably 7,500 and 10,000 customers. So we only need to get 3 times as big and do a couple price increases, and we're there.
Do you have like proprietary software that you built related to the subscriptions, or how do you handle those?
So we use a pretty, it's actually the only industry CRM is called Sweep and Go is what we use. And we've modified it. We're friends with Sweep and Go because they get a lot of signups from our community because that's what we use. So that's what we usually recommend. So we have modified things like some remarketing processes. They actually even built our website for us. So as far as like the industry goes, I think our tech stack's probably top of the line compared to competitors.
Could you ever see yourself maybe doing your own in-house type CRM?
I don't really want to.
Honest answer.
It's like, do I want to spend $500,000 or $1 million plus to have like a minimum viable product? And then people might not even buy it. And then we're like so far behind all these other people. Again, it's like an entirely different business. I also don't know anything about it, like whatsoever. So I'd probably lose a lot of money.
Yeah, makes sense. It is definitely a black hole. I remember many years ago, early in my career, we went down the path of trying to do custom software. And it was just like one new thing every week seemed to pop up that we hadn't budgeted for special consultants. And it just seemed like a money suck. And it was a mistake.
We might try to do something small in the future, whether it's just like pulling in like maybe a better analytics dashboard. Maybe it's setting up our remarketing processes for people that they can just plug into the other CRMs that are out there. Something that just makes the community a little bit more sticky, adds some more value. That's something we might look at doing, but I'm definitely not going to build out like a full CRM. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, well, cool. Anything I left out? Anything you want to share that maybe I didn't talk about?
Man, I don't know. I could talk about dog poop all day. Whoever's willing to listen, I'll talk about it.
Well, there must be something in there. Is there something that comes to mind that maybe I didn't ask you that might be something good to share with the audience, mostly of entrepreneurs and wannabe entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, I know you did mention before people like why we even started the community in the first place, right? Because we're creating competitors and things like that. That's what people think. So I will address that. And I think the biggest reason that we started it is just because this industry is in such an infancy right now. Like, you still talk to people all over the place. They still don't even know that dog waste removal services exist. So our goal was to kind of lead the pack, making it a mainstream service. I'll let other people about it. Even though there's more competitors, I think we're still more so competing against people that don't know the service exists, right? And we're also able to use those numbers to negotiate better deals. Everybody that's in the community, they get better software deals, they get their bags cheaper, and a ton of other perks like that actually more than fully cover the cost of membership in the Poop Scoop Millionaire community. So it ends up being kind of a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you guys do anything as far as like with community giving, like dog shelters or anything where just visibility in terms of helping out? Do you do anything in that area, or do you have any aspiration to do that?
As far as like community stuff?
Yeah, just like, I was thinking like I used to volunteer at a dog shelter, and we would bring out these dogs that needed a home, and there would be all these vendors that would volunteer at that event to try to get the dogs adopted, and they would donate their time and service, but it was also good branding and awareness in the community for them.
Yeah.
Do you guys do anything like that?
Yeah. So what we do right now, we have like a giant check, like a 6-foot long check or something. And every month we pick a nonprofit, whether it's like a dog shelter or something like that. We'll donate the check, and then we'll also give that nonprofit like a promo code. So then anybody that signs up from that exposure, or if they're putting like information in option pamphlets or whatever, we'll donate an extra $50 for every customer that signs up through that. So it's kind of like a ongoing thing, right? We pay $50 to get a customer anyways, might as well donate it.
That's very cool. So how does it feel to be a multimillionaire? That's where I'm going to wrap up. Is that fully settled in, or is it just the beginning in your mind?
Yeah, I think we're just getting started. I mean, obviously things start to change a little bit, right? I got nice car, watch, house, like all that stuff. It's kind of like, it's whatever, right? Now it's kind of more about having fun, right?
That's cool, man. Spoken like a true pooper scooper. You're very humble, and it's just matter of fact about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it's all about having fun. And I think for me anyways, the happiest I am is when I'm the most useful to people. So try to be productive, try to help other people be successful. And then, just trying to show people what's possible with Swoop Scoop. So yeah, eight figures is the next step. So we'll see if we can get there in the next couple of years.
You'll do it, man. That's exciting. Well, hey, congratulations. Thanks for being on the show. I will share. So you got two different things. So Swoop Scoop is where you actually provide your services.
Yep.
It's obviously limited geography wise right now, at least.
Yep.
And then the community page, where really, if you ever thought about starting a business, this is probably one of the easiest ways without a lot of barrier to entry. Yep. It's on the platform schools with a K. So SK00L.com. I'll get there. Yeah. School.com. And then it's kind of got a long tail to it, but it's a poop scoop millionaire with hyphens between each word, and then another slash about. And I'll put that in the show notes. Kind of hard to probably follow that verbally, but I'll put that in there.
If you just Google Poop Scoop Millionaire, it'll come up first. And then we also have a free YouTube channel called Scoop Start, and we got a free blog called Scoop Start also. So all that information is free. But if you want the full walkthrough, definitely join school. And that's also the only way to actually talk to me. I check all my DMs basically in the morning every single day. Do not try to call Swoop Scoop. You will never get a hold of me. We got like a wall. It's not possible. So if you want to talk to me, that's the only way.
Does that happen? It sounds like you're talking from experience here. Does people call?
Where do you think that franchise list came from? We had over 100 people that tried calling and trying to get a hold of me.
Yeah. So Google Poop Scoop Millionaire. That's where you can see the community. If you ever thought about starting a business, it sounds like this is a fun one to just get your feet wet and decide if it's something you enjoy doing. Do you find that people kind of get challenges? Because what I see when they're starting a business and they're, they just get challenged with the financial part. They get challenged with the marketing part, and they just kind of get in their own way. Is there anything in the community that makes some of those things a little bit easier?
Yeah, well, I mean, we got, there's over 30 hours of courses, anything from the 101 to how to make your business plan. Here's how to do a budget, to here's how you set up your LLC. And we go through how to get all your equipment, how to fulfill the service, how to set up your software, how to run Facebook ads, how to run Google ads, how to do SEO, how to do commercial services, how to hire employees, how to train employees. We also do a couple live trainings every single week. So we'll bring in either attorneys or CPAs or other experienced scoopers that do live trainings on a weekly basis. And then the big value is obviously the community itself. You have questions, you can just post in there to people that have been there, done that. And everybody's very, very responsive. I think we're in the top 1% of engagement on the whole school platform. We're top 1% earner on the whole school platform. And so we're doing pretty good in there, actually.
Does cash flow have you down? Profit not where you think it should be? Maybe it's the long hours. Let's meet to see if I can help. I bridge driving the financial performance of your business to hit growth and success targets. Book a complimentary meeting at meetforgrowth.com to get started now. Once again, that's meetforgrowth.com. I look forward to talking with you. And thanks for listening to the show.
I think we're in the top 1% of engagement on the whole school platform. We're top 1% earner on the whole school platform. And so we're doing pretty good in there, actually.
Which, by the way, is owned by Alex Ramosi, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's in it. That's the whole reason. Yeah, we even started it in the first place. It's like, let's see what this is all about, and it turned into a much bigger thing. It's like scooping than I anticipated it to.
That's crazy, man. Okay, and then just the last thing I'll say, I just want to wrap up. People are considering what I love about your model: flexible hours. You can make really as much as you want to make. If you just want a little supplemental income, you can make it that model. So a lot of things that really, for someone who's even considering a business, it really makes a lot of sense. As long as obviously you can get past the part of picking up poop, which really 9 out of 10 times isn't that bad. It's the 10th can be a little rough.
I always tell people it's too good to be true, other than the fact you got to go out and pick up dog poop, right? Because one person, you can handle 150 customers. You can net 6 figures with no employees by yourself if you're willing to get your hands dirty and you follow the right process. So,
yeah. Okay, cool. Hey, Will, you're awesome. I'd love to hear your story. I was really excited when you guys had sent a message about potentially being on the show, because it's just such a unique model and it's very reachable. I feel like it gives belief to anyone that wants to go out and create a business. So awesome. Kudos to you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for your time, Tyler.
Yeah, sure. Take care.
You too.
Well, that's another great episode in the books. Here's what I loved about William's story. It's simple, but it's not easy. He didn't raise capital. He didn't build an app. He built a system. He stayed consistent, and he understood the math. Things like customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, and retention. That's how you turn a pickup truck and a scooper into a real business. Now, as a part-time CFO, I see too many business owners. They're chasing complexity when the real opportunity is in mastering the basics and doing them better than anyone else. Now, if you want help building financial systems that support sustainable growth, not just fast growth, book a call with me at cfomadeeasy.com. That's cfomadeeasy.com, or hit the link in the show notes. And hey, one more thing. If this episode made you think just a little bit differently, I'd love a quick rating or a review. It helps more business owners find the show. I'll see you next time.